how do we want these reps to be divided? Because we've seen in the past where we thought it was a competition and how those reps were divided. And, some people like that division of labor. Others thought they should have been a little bit more balanced out. And I'm talking about whether it was Mason Rudolph competing against Dwayne Haskins last year in the preseason and how we would look at that and say, well, man, is this really a competition in the sense of who is going with what group repeatedly? If we take it back the years prior to that, where it was Mason versus Dobbs or Landry in the conversation, like we just felt like it was a little bit more fair. That's a nice way to put it in terms of how they would split up the reps or who would take what group and stuff like that. So just, initially starting this thing out with the OTA element of it, how would you want this situation to look, man?
How would I? I mean, you give 100% to Kenny,
okay,
and let the other guy sit on the bench. But if we're going to say this is a competition, wouldn't it make sense to just do a third each? I don't know how that would work, though. I really don't. Because when you were talking about preseason last year,
yeah,
and I guess even training camp, because you actually got to see some of this stuff. We know what played out in the preseason games where
yes,
Mason had the
starter
number one lineup,
time,
right?
Yeah, every
with
time
Claypool and Juju out there, Najee Harris, and then when it was Haskins, he had the backups.
Correct.
What was it like in actual training camp, though?
Yeah, in practice, they would alternate.
Okay.
You would see Haskins with some of the ones, especially because during training camp, remember, Ben didn't practice as often. So you were going to get those guys to be able to switch essentially not period by period, but typically daily. So if it was Monday's practice, we would know right when walkthroughs came out, okay, Dwayne Haskins taking the reps right here with the ones. He's the number one guy for the day. All right, Tuesday come up. Oh, it's Mason today. All right, bet. Mason's the number one guy today. Oh, it's Wednesday. Ben's practicing today. Okay, so Ben's the guy. Let's see who falls at number 2 behind him to kind of get an understanding. And that was how they would alternate them throughout the week. But when the games happened, it was always Mason going out there with the ones. So that part, like I said, was a little bit different. But I want to see, what that looks like this year.
How would you think it's going to play out? Because as I'm thinking about it right now, I mean, do they give Trubisky the nod? Or do you think it's literally going to be Trubisky the nod being he probably has the most success in the NFL. We sign him to this little deal and everything, veteran. Or could you see it being every day it's a different guy at that number 1 spot? And what does that necessarily mean? Is you're just first to go, or do you get the most reps?
No. So the way the reps are divided, they're always going to be even, or at least they should be. Typically during OTAs, you'll get like 12 plays per period.
This is even if Ben was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that changed was Ben could dictate how many plays he want to stay in. If Ben wanted to throw for all 12, he's going to play the full 12 count. If he wanted to get 9 plays and then give whoever's the backup the following 3, he could do that. If he only wanted to do 6, he could do that. Defensively, the way we would do it, we would split them up 6 and 6, or we would go 6-4-2, depending on, if we wanted our third linebackers to get reps, third defensive guys to get reps. We would always split it 6-4-2, and then when the season hit, man, that thing would be 8-4, and the 3s don't get a rep. That was how it would be. But when you're talking about this time of year where you don't have that clear-cut starter, they could very well do it. Hey, man, you're going to get 4 plays, you'll get 4 plays, you'll get 4 plays. And if we have, 7 clips throughout the day, all right, well, for those 7 periods, you're going to get 4, you'll get 4, you'll get 4, and you'll rotate through just like that.
All with the same offense, all with the same weapons?
Yeah, in a sense. But that's what I'm saying. Like, they could flip-flop them daily, or if they wanted to go by series, because there's been times in my career where they're like, hey, for this period right here, you're with the ones. All right, cool. So you take all the 1 reps. You're out there with all the starters. You're good. All right. This period, hey, you're going in with the 2 unit today. All right, bet. So this guy's gonna get a chance. All right, boom, boom, boom. So then you'll go out there with the 2s because it's the same calls. It's just different orders of what they're gonna call or what play you might be seeing offensively, defensively. But you're still gonna be playing. And coaches, even though they like to keep us in terms of the continuity, they will randomly sub guys in just because if an injury happens, you're not always going to have this guy. We need to know how we're going to work together. So they already would do certain things like that. But when you're talking about a competition, they'll just be more direct with it. you'll see, okay, every couple plays, these guys rotating out. Every couple plays, these two guys are going to be switching in and out. Even if everyone else stays the same, like Deontay's not rotating out. Claypool's not going to be rotating out like that. But you'll look at the quarterback and they'll be like, okay, the offense will stay the same in the huddle. And after a certain amount of plays, that quarterback go out and you got to come in. And that's going to be how they'll rotate, though. Okay. At least that's how, I hope they keep it as fair like that. And I'll be able to tell you.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. And like I said, I'll be able to let you know as soon as I see it next week. Like, well, an extent. Of course, I have my rules that I have to follow.
We got some good information last year, though.
Yeah. Like,
it wasn't like it was all held back.
Right. As best as I can do, I'll still make sure I communicate like what I'm seeing in the sense of that rotation, because I think that will be a little bit more telling. Like, if I'm looking at, I'm like, bro, it's 12 plays and Mitch is getting 8 of them. I'm like, all right, we see how they leaning right here. But if it's, a little bit more divided up down the middle or in thirds, I think it's very different.
Yeah, I hope they don't lean Mitch just because of the contract, just because of him being a veteran. But I could see it playing out that way where it's like Pickett, hey, man, even though we drafted you first, you kind of got to earn the reps a little bit, earn the respect.
I was going to say the same way you just said, I hope they don't lean Mitch because he's a vet. I was about to say, I hope they don't lean Pickett because he's a draft pick.
Okay. Because you think they could do that? That would feel a little disrespectful, though, right?
No, like honestly, man,
I'd be fine with it.
Right, we know you would, but as players, that's the reality of it. Like, you would much rather a veteran get the opportunity first than a rookie because the rookie hasn't earned anything. It's like, bro, you're just giving something because they called you on the phone. It's like, what have you done at this level? What have you done to earn our respect? What have you done to earn this rep right here? We're not just giving you a rep because you were drafted. Like, that's how, like, veterans view it. So that's what I'm saying, like, from my perspective, I hope they don't just give it to either of them. That's why I wanted to be a legitimate competition, though.
What's our closest scenario to that? Was it Landry Mason? And they probably still gave Landry the early reps, right? They gave him more of the percentage.
Because he had already been here. We already knew what he was and stuff.
Mason was a third-round pick, too.
It was very different. I'm trying to think a scenario where we've...
Because I don't know what it was like with Ben and Maddox, and Tomlin wasn't even the coach then.
And we're not talking about like other positions. Other positions, competitions happen, draft pick, stuff like that, and we see the hierarchy, but it's different because it's not quarterback. Like, when you're talking about quarterback, it's just, it's different.
Does who goes first matter? If it's split evenly?
It does, but it doesn't. It does in the sense of, all right, even though we could both have our names penciled in, Moat/Deke, QB1. If they tell me I get that rep first, in my mind, I'm the guy. In your mind, you're looking at me saying, okay, he got the leg up right now.
They're leaning him.
Right. Even though it doesn't matter. And that's why I say it matters, but it doesn't because it's penciled in with a slash and we know, hey, this is just my day. But if day one, it starts with you, I feel like they like you a little bit better than me right now.
Could they just go Kenny first due to alphabetical order? Kenny, Mason, then Mitch. Just say we did it alphabetically. Sorry.
They could, but most of the time at the NFL level, it's always based on tenure. You go years.
Makes sense. Yeah. I was just trying to figure out a way to get Kenny in that number one spot early.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is be careful what you wish for, man. Be careful what you wish for.
What do you mean?
You're in such a hurry to throw them out there. Sometimes it's, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes things come out there a little fast and it turned out to be, not so glamorous.
Hey, we'll find out.
We will. That's why I said be careful, man. I know you like, yo, just get him out there. I'm like, all right,
here's the thing.
I just don't want to ruin your perspective of your guy.
No. Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say. If he's not looking good, don't put him out there. I expect him to look good, though. I expect him to be playing well.
Not looking good, don't put him out there. No.
Right.
Just put him out there.
If like Mitch outplays him or something this offseason, then I guess he has the right to start.
Yeah.
But I expect Pickett to at least have it close where it's like, okay, why not just go with the young guy? Because we talked about this before with Tomlin. If it's close, I'm going with the young guy. I'm going with the guy we drafted in the first round. I expect Pickett to at least do that, if not just beat him out outright.
Yeah. Like I said, man, we're going to find out. I hope it works out. But I'm just trying to just caution you a little bit, man. You look at the history of rookie quarterbacks, man. It's not glamorous like that, bro.
Got a good situation around him, though. That's what I'm definitely leaning on.
I hear
like Dak being a 4th round pick, that was one of the best rookie seasons out there.
I hear you.
He played pretty good.
We're picking outliers, though. That's all. When we really go down the list of the 5 to 10 quarterbacks you're going to name, in contrast to how many quarterbacks have been drafted and supposed to be in these positions, in great situations, high-end picks, you're going to see, like, it's not like that. That's why we talk about the quarterback position always, people reaching for them, because we know it's a crapshoot at times, man. It's a crapshoot.
All right, we'll find out.
But I'm hoping that it works out, though.